Well, hello, brother or sister CNCer. I am Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and we are finally coming out of the hole I've been in the last couple of weeks, feeling like crap. I still have a lot of congestion inside of me. Still not so great, but I did get tested to make sure. I was actually getting worried. Came out negative. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Longmill a little bit, with the spoil board, and what I am doing with it. I have spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out exactly how I want this spoil board to be set up. And the reason I've spent a lot of time on it, number one, is I want to make sure everything is in place. And number two, that the Longmill does not have a homing sequence. Like, there's no homing switches on it. So there's not like a formal home position. So I had to create kind of a pseudo home position, because I like having a home position. However, I did kind of go with a different theme, and I have built my spoil board based off the center of the motion of the machine as to how I will be setting that center up, but I always know where my corner is at, so I have a home reference. I can always take the machine back there and get it set up there. Basically, it's a bump type of thing, and where I actually run it up against the physical limits of the machine in the back and on the side, and then I will bring it out a certain distance. I will talk to you about that in a little bit as I break down this spoil board, which you're going to be quite interested in. And by the way, it'll be available to you on my website. So if you're getting into the Longmill game, then you're going to have that available to you, as well as the break-in program and other things I am going to be doing. Let me show you what I'm doing here. I've got my table, I got my spoil board. It is currently quite a ways oversized. It has to be within a certain size range if I'm going to maintain pass-through capability. So the spoil board is ultimately going to be cut down. There's going to be about 2 inches cut off of this edge. There will be probably about 2 inches cut off the front, 2 inches off this edge, and some X distance off the back edge over there. The first thing I'm going to do before I even run the program for the spoil board is run a quick program on a piece of MDF that's just going to run. It's a bit of a pilot program. I'm going to make 4 circles. They're going to be 1 inch in diameter, 3 inches in diameter, 5 inches diameter, 7 inches in diameter. And then I'm going to make like a crosshair through it, and then I'm going to make 4 holes that are going to be 1/4 inch in diameter, and I'm just going to measure things out and make sure it's cutting where it's supposed to be cutting, because the spoil board, I put a lot of work into it. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to get into the spoil board, and I'll show you exactly what I'll be doing with that and the way I've set it up, why I've set it up that way, and then you'll get to watch the spoil board run out. So let's watch this thing run out its little test program, and I'll show you what I am doing with that. It's kind of a just zero in the machine, make sure it's set up right. So basically, this is the tool path I am going to be running. What I'm doing is I am cutting a 1 inch, 3 inch, 5 inch, and 7 inch circle, and I will be cutting on the outside edge of each circle so I can measure with the calipers like that. And then this is a 4.5 inch box. I'll be cutting on the outside of the box, so I should have a 4.5 inch square. And then these holes are a 1/4 inch round, and they're a 1/2 inch deep. I'm using my a spiral drill cut on that. So I actually expect that to be a little bit undersized. We'll see how she runs out. So this is what we're going to run right now. Now you'll notice just before I start, I have this odd looking dust boot on there, and I have that on there for a reason. I have designed that with a face on the bottom, so it redirects the air blast of the Makita router back upwards. So it comes out through these fluted slots here instead of down there. Now there's a little bit of leakage down there, but I am going to have this actually designed in a way so it's like a little sleeve that goes up, and so I'll have the dust boot on there, and that will be coming out. Now, because this is the first time I've ever gotten ready to cut some material, I'm actually dry running this. The bit's in there, but I've got my Z set up high, and I'm using G-Sender. I ran into an issue already where I had G-Sender on my older laptop, and literally turned off my laptop twice. It was in the middle of the cycle, about the same place, and then it stopped. And I looked over it, and this laptop was turned off. So I'm going to have to troubleshoot that a little bit, because this is the one I want to be using, because this goes up to my apartment, and I don't want to carry it back and forth all the time. All right, well, I'm going to let that run out, and then we'll run this whole thing out. Well, I had to stop. I broke my bit. This is like the only second time I broke a bit, but it's the biggest bit I ever broke. So it broke at the top where it's being held in the machine. I'm using a collet and a collet, and that could have an effect on it. So the only other bit I broke was a 1/64th diameter bit. So not bad after 8 months of using the CNC router. The good thing is I can actually get a measure on this now and see if this is good. Now you notice these cuts are really rough. That's because I'm using an up bit, and I'm doing that intentionally because I'm just trying things out. I want to make sure the chips get ejected out of there. This is actually the bonus bit that you get from the bit set, the 8-piece bit set, if you choose to buy a complete set from me, then you'll get this bonus bit with it. And by the way, this is really good bit for drilling holes and what have you. But you break bits, so I have to figure out why that broke, and I'm going to do a quick measure, see what we look like. Well, after clearing out all the sawdust here, it's very clear that the bit got loosed as it was cutting, and it drilled down into it, and it couldn't handle any more of the side force. So good thing it broke. I don't mind that happening. So let's measure this hole now. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. So we got some sawdust in there. This is a first cut on this machine. So we get to see what has happened. I would expect that. Sawdust in here, sawdust on the screws. A little bit back there. Of course, I won't have near that problem when I get the regular vacuum tube put on. I have that set up right here. I'm waiting for my hose to come in from Amazon. All right. I keep saying I'm going to get a measure off of this thing. So this hole should be 1-inch diameter. That should be 3-inch diameter. That should be 5, and I can't get a measure off of this one with my calipers. You know what? I am not bitching about that. Wow. I actually didn't expect it to be that close. Okay. That's even better. Oh my God. Okay, so you measure twice, right? So let's measure the third one. That should be 5 inches. Okay, let's do this again. So this is on X. You know what? I'm going to move the camera so you can see me measuring this. You can see I'm actually getting right on those lines. So I need to do it that way as well. Okay, 0.994. This is MDF, by the way. Just trying to find the widest spot. Oops. Let's get you in closer so you can see exactly where I'm measuring. And I can't see the number because of the button's on my screen. So 0.993. That's still really good. Really, really good. Okay, I think I'm about on the middle there. 0.299. Do it again. Okay. Back out. Okay, so this is literally out of the box. 5 inches, right where it should be. 496. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. 993. Okay, let's get this one. You might be hearing some music in the background, and I hope YouTube doesn't pick that up. So it should be 3 inches. It's 2.99. Very close. Do it again. Try to get right at that highest spot. Okay, same thing. And then all the way out. Let's move it so you can see. I want to make sure you see what I'm doing. And I think I'm about at the highest spot right there. I got hooked. I felt it move. .4.993. 0.987. .991. All right, I'm pretty satisfied with that. So I got to replace that bit and redo this circle. But I got to tell you, out of the box, that is damn good. Now I'm using, I already told you I'm using an 1/8 inch diameter bit. That's damn good. All right, got a new bit in there, ready to go again. So let's rock this out. We're going to measure this square. We'll measure everything again. I'm also going to measure it this way. Of course, I lost my measure, dead nuts measure here because I took out the top of the circle. I didn't even think about that when I had that line going through. But, all right, let's see. Okay, well, this is actually turning into a review. So that's the front. I'm going to take the board off so I can actually reach it better. So this should be 4 inches wide on the square. Oh, 4.5 inches, I'm sorry. Remember, I had to widen it. So we're at 4.52. Is that right? Yep. In the back, 4.51. Very close. 4.51. Do it so you can see this. .51. 0.51. These holes should be 1/4 inch, so they'll be relatively close. I actually expect them to be undersized, which that surprises me. I expect them to be undersized more than that. This tells me that this machine is actually cutting really, really, really well. That's my 1-inch diameter circle. Okay, 1.01. That's a 3-inch diameter circle, 3.02. 5-inch diameter circle, 5.03, 0.02, and then over here, this should be in the Y direction, 5.01, 3. All right. So you've seen it. This is the first cut, and I did not expect this to be that close coming right out of the box. So I'm actually really impressed. It's round. The holes are almost where I want it to be. I'm very comfortable with what I've got. I was at a very high feed rate going down those holes. Everything was running at a 45 inches per minute, and they were all 0.1 deep. All right, so there's a band going to be playing across the street, so I'm going to shut down for now and come back to you in a little while. Well, because this took a little more time than I expected before I was going to run out the spoil board, I will do the spoil board in another video, the next video or the video after that. But I will give you a little peek at it. You'll be kind of surprised as to all the stuff that I have on that spoil board. And that spoil board will be available to you. Before I do that, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, if you choose to get the Longmill, like I said before, I have an affiliate link. And what that does is if you go to the Longmill website to purchase this machine using that link, then I will get a small commission out of it. And that link is down below in the description box. The other thing I want to show you are a couple things that I have now added to the IDC Woodcraft store. Let me show you. The first thing is a 120 degree V-bit. Why 120 degree? When you make letters, like V-carve letters, and they get wider than 1/4 of an inch, then they start getting deep with a 90 degree V-bit. And that's when you want to start using a 120 degree V-bit. So this is 120 degrees. It's 3/4 of an inch wide, and it's 1.5 inches tall. Now, it's a little bit shorter than most, but I had that design specifically for that, and there's a reason. That's why I call it the little stiffy, because if people put their bits hanging out too far, you end up getting a lot of vibration, and that messes up your V carves. So I've designed this to literally force you to get this really high up into your collet, and that way you have a lot more rigidity. So this bit is now available on the IDC website. The link for that is down below. The other bit that is on the website now is the 3/16 diameter down cutting bit. Now this one I have labeled the silver bullet for a number of reasons. First of all, why a 3/16 when I already have a 1/8 and a 1/4 inch down cutter? Well, the reason is a lot of people like to use this instead of the other two. Basically, they'll use the 3/16 for the purposes of the 1/8 inch and the 1/4 inch, thereby eliminating a tool change, essentially. Some people just use this bit as their only down bit. Now, that's one of the first things, is it basically takes the place of both of them. The second thing is I designed this so it will effectively do the same thing a 1/4 inch bit will do, meaning when you profile something out and you need to go really deep, this has a 1 inch flute length to it. Now there's one other thing I had the manufacturer do when I had this made, is I had them add an extra half spiral to the turn. And I wanted that to get a much cleaner cut. Not the down bit already leaves a clean cut. This will leave it even cleaner because it's doing it's a smoother shear, not working as hard. Now this is the 1/4 inch, and you can see when I run my finger up this flute, it goes around 1 revolution, and the flute is back up there. When I run my finger around this flute, it actually makes 1.5 revolutions. I wanted to get that good cleanup cut out of this bit whether you're using it for an 1/8 inch or the 1/4 inch, however you want to use it. So this bit is available on the IDC website. I have my first batch in. There's only 50 as of this video. I expect them to go very quickly. So make sure you get yours now. So let's just talk about the last two, are the O-flutes. I have an 1/8 inch O-flute and a 1/4 inch O-flute. They're going to be on the website within a couple of days of this video. They probably are by the time you've watched this video. O-flutes are for cutting acrylic. So these are also going to be available for you if you want them. Okay, now I got to show you the spoil board. So here's your sneak peek at the spoil board we're making for the Longmill. And here it is. So this is a 31 inches wide by 33 inches tall, and it has information for me that's going to be V-carved into it. Tells me where my corner is going to be at relative to the back physical limits of the machine, and then where this grid starts at, and then of course there's my center point, and I have a 4x4 grid, so it is being called out right here on these different axes here. And I also have an inch scale all the way up and a inch scale on the side. Now I will do a rendition of this that is going to be 100 by 100 with all metric numbers for those people who work with metrics as well. So there will be 2 spoil boards available. And then I use circles as well. I don't necessarily need them. I was debating on it. The circles will help align my projects, but I can also use the index marks that I have on the scales here. But I figure I will leave the circles in there, and I have a 12-inch circle, 20-inch circle, and 28-inch circle. No particular reason why those dimensions are there. And then I am also saying where this line starts at relative to the board corner. That's going to be engraved, as well as down here it is pointing to this line. It tells me the same dimension. And then I've got some more information here. It says that the board is 33 long here. I got to move that. I don't want that crossed over into my, what do you call it, the grid. So that'll be moved up a little bit more. There we go. And I've got a 31 over here that tells me that the board is 31 by 33. And then the little holes here are for mounting the board. It's actually going to be screwed down to the subsurface or the tabletop. And then every one of these little holes is going to have a nut in it from the back, a rivet nut. That's going to be 1/4 20, which is an imperial size, so that I can clamp my parts down wherever I want to. And I will set this up for metrics as well. And I've got other information. This tells me it's a 4x4 grid. So all that information is there. Looks like I have to nudge these arrows out a little bit. That is the spoil board that will be on my Longmill. And when I have this available to you, I will have a video that walks you through the entire process of how to set the spoil board up. Now you've seen the spoil board. That will be available to you for free if you decide to get the Longmill. So we've covered a few things here. We tested the Longmill and found out that it ran dead nuts, which is awesome. Actually, I was really blown away. Just amped my endorsement of the Longmill CNC that much higher. Talked about the bits that are available on the IDC Woodcraft store. And lastly, like I said before, if you want to buy the Longmill, that I ask you that you use that link down in the description. That helps me make more videos for you. Check everything else down in the description. There's lots of information down there. With all that, I hope you have a great day, better tomorrow, and, of course, happy CNCing. I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I will talk to you again.